My name is Beth Ann, and I am the Director of Meetings here at the Florida Bar. And we are a small department, but tasked with a large function of negotiating and booking all of the hotel contracts and meeting facilities for all of the sections, the Board of Governors, the Young Lawyers Division, and any other bar groups that need meeting space all across the state, the country, and out of country as well. So we also are in charge of planning and coordinating the bar's major meetings, so fall meeting, winter meeting, and annual convention. So we work closely with all of the program administrators, planning all of those details. I'm here to talk to you for a few quick minutes about meeting in this post-COVID environment. So if any of you have traveled this summer, you have seen that hotels are full, and you probably paid top dollar for those hotel rooms and all of the services that hotels are providing. We are seeing that in the meetings portion as well. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about what that is looking like as we are going forward and booking meetings for 23, 24, and even the end of 22. We are seeing rising costs, extraordinarily rising costs with limited availability. And hotels are having a lot of they've had to move a lot of groups that canceled their meetings in 2020 and 21, just like many of our bar groups did. So hotels are full, and there is very limited availability on dates into 23 and into 24. You're not going to be able to have a meeting at the Ritz-Carlton any longer for $199 room rate. Those days are gone for right now. I do hope they come back in the future because we all love going to those upscale, high tier properties. But right now, some of those meetings might need to be reevaluated. Demand is driving these costs. There are corporate groups out there and just even social groups that are willing to pay these high prices that maybe don't have to stick to a budget, the budget that we do. Just for instance, we're constantly requesting proposals every day from properties all over the state. And where that Ritz-Carlton $199, they're now quoting us upwards of $400, $500, and even we've seen over $700 a night in Miami for group business, which is just unheard of. So what I want to ask you, or how can we help you? How can you help us help you? A couple of quick thoughts that we have on that. Be realistic with your meeting expectations, especially as it comes or relates to your budget. If you have a limited budget, you're not going to be able to meet at those high tier properties right now and maybe for the next couple of years. So we do want you to spend your time the best way possible, spending your time by looking at properties that you might not have considered before, but are still extremely nice properties, very nice properties that other groups might go to within the bar. And we certainly have a list of venues that we regularly book and would make available to you. We ask that you narrow down your choices to your top 3 or 4 properties. And if you receive a proposal from those, be ready to book that. Instead of saying, oh, well, I like these, but let's see what the 5th, 6th, and 7th property might offer us. If this is one of those properties that you're really, truly considering and you get a good proposal from that, we do ask that you go ahead and book that because that's going to be the best use of your time and our time as well. And after you've narrowed down your venues with your program administrator and you submit that request for them to tell us to go ahead and work with hotels on getting these proposals. When you get those proposals back, go ahead and be ready and prepared to accept a proposal and move to contract. What we are seeing is that space that is being offered in a proposal is gone if you take 3, 4, 5 weeks, a couple months to make a decision. That space will no longer be available, and you would have to start that process, that search process all over again. So because of the demand, the high demand and the limited availability, if you're asking for a proposal from a hotel, it is in your best interest to be prepared to go ahead and move to contract at that time. You might also see that you're going to get some declines from hotels in booking your business. And you're like, oh my gosh, but we're the bar. Why aren't they wanting to book our business? It's not that they don't want to book our business. It's that we might have a small meeting for them and we're trying to book it a year, 2 years out, but they're not going to commit their ballroom space and their sleeping rooms to a smaller meeting when they could potentially book a lot of a bigger meeting that's going to take up more of their space. So just keep that in mind. If you do have a smaller meeting, we might have to book that a little bit closer to your dates than we normally would. But we're certainly here to help you any way that we can in achieving your meeting goals and what you're trying to accomplish for the section. Moving on to I want to talk a little bit about our major meetings. We do work with the program administrators in setting the schedule that we do post and make available on the bar's website. So we do have deadlines for letting us know what committees are going to be meeting or what events you're planning to have at any of those major meetings. Fall meeting, of course, is now completely virtual and can meet throughout the entire week of fall meeting. But then winter meeting will be in Orlando at Rose and Shingle Creek, and then convention will be back in Boca in June next summer. So that is a really brief overview of how the program administrators and the sections can work with the meetings department. And again, we're here for you anytime. Let us know what we can do for you. I thought I saw some questions coming in or popping up, but I don't know if there was
one that was answered, but to the extent you have any other thoughts on if they want to use property outside of Florida, are there any other considerations if they want to book a property that's outside of Florida or outside the country?
You can certainly do that. You would still submit that through your program administrator to the meetings department. We do have a partner that we work with closely to help us booking the out of country meetings, but the contract is ultimately still signed by me in our department. I do have 3 other meeting coordinators. We're currently down a coordinator right now, but we do sign all of those through our office. So you would
the same process.
It is still the same process, but it just might be the partner that we work with might have a little bit more knowledge about the out of country portion of it, since we're not traveling out of the country as much as we travel in Florida.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there any other comments on this or questions?
Zasha, this is Terry Hill again. I have a comment just in follow-up to Beth Ann, and I also have a question for Beth Ann that I think her answers will probably be beneficial to everyone on the call. With regard to the out-of-state, out-of-country meetings, every year there are a number of sections who do meetings out of the state and out of the country, and the program administrators work very closely with our meetings department. Depending on where they're going outside of the country, they might work with a different destination management company, but our meetings department, Beth Ann and her team, can really help with that. And again, at any given, you look at the Florida Bar master calendar and just kind of scroll through it, and you'll see trips to London and the Bahamas and Park City, Utah, and Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I mean, there's I think there was a couple going up to Maryland or Bar Harbor, Maine this fall. So there's always sections going out, and the meetings department, the program administrators can be very helpful with that. I did have a question for Beth Ann with regard. She talked about the meeting request forms that the program administrators work with their sections to get proposals. And Beth Ann alluded to the fact that space sometimes is gone really quick. So my question to Beth Ann, so that she could share it with everybody, is once a meeting request form is submitted and you get proposals from the hotel, just when you have that proposal in hand, does that mean the hotel is holding space?
No, they do not typically, as an industry standard, do not hold space during the proposal process, because while it's not currently booked in their system, there might be 3 or 4 hotel managers currently working to book that space. And so they send out a proposal. They can see that one of their colleagues has sent out a proposal, and they work with each other internally within their offices to make sure they're not, trying to book 2 contracts at the exact same time and overbook their space. Now, so if you are truly considering, if you've submitted 4 properties to us and all 4 come back with proposals, but 2 of them you're really considering, we would go ahead and ask for a courtesy hold while you're making that decision. But that typically is only about a week because, again, they are trying to sell their space. And if a group comes in that is ready to go to contract, they're going to take that. And that's why you'll see sometimes your program administrator might come back to you and say, hey, the meetings department has let us know that if we don't make a decision by Friday, another group is going to book it and we're going to lose this space. And that is what is happening in that scenario. So we do ask that if you get all of those proposals and you are really considering 1 or 2 over the others, that you let us know that so that we can ask for that courtesy hold. It doesn't make, it's not good for our relationships with hoteliers to ask for a courtesy hold on all of these properties, because it might be 4 Marriott properties and they all talk to each other and they're like, well, wait, are they considering me? Or are they considering you? You know, so we do try to manage that relationship and work really closely with our hotel partners and keep them updated. And that's why they want to know as much information up front as possible about the program so that they can offer the best rate and the best food and beverage minimum, and all of those details go into truly getting you the most beneficial contract for the section.
And then my follow-up question to that is, if a section they have a proposal from, pick a property, Hilton Bonnet Creek or Ritz, and they say, okay, yes, we want to move forward with this proposal. At what time does the hotel then secure that property and hold it pending the contract going through the
Once we tell them we are ready to move forward to a contract, they put it in their system as a contract process. They're under a contract process, and then it's very rare, unless you are taking a really long time and not returning the contract. If you're taking 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks to review a contract, that they might come back and say, we've got another group looking at these dates. You're still going to lose it even in the contract phase. But once you request the contract, the space is on hold until the contract is executed, unless you do delay that contract process. And that varies. That time frame varies from property to property, the time of year, the location. So if you're trying to book South Florida in February, March, April, number one, you're going to have rates that are just through the roof. You're going to have extreme limited availability and a lot of people vying for that meeting space. And then you're going to have a shorter window of making a decision and actually going to contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Beth.